Oh my, now isn't that such a little coinkydink? And how do we feel about coinkydinkies? Well, I can tell you how Auntie feels. I don't believe in them, not one bit. Because coincidences, my friends, yeah, they don't exist. Negativators, mount up. Because this, in my opinion, has everything to do with Rh negative. Hators, us, those with Rh negative blood. A blood type that was not only just recently discovered in 1937, but only makes up 15% of this world's population today. What's Rh negative blood, Auntie? Do I have it? I don't know, but I can let you know. Maybe you do. Those with Rh negative blood would be A negative, like your Auntie, A B negative, or O negative. A blood type so rare, so peculiar, like I said, it only makes up 15% of the world's population to date. But you want to know what else makes up only that same percentage of the world's population right now here to date? Well, 15 to 20%, that is. You want to know what else makes up 15% of the world's population? Well, in this 15 to 20%, but we'll talk about that. Something else that your auntie seems to be neurodivergent. What's neurodivergent, Auntie? I'm glad you asked that too. It is not a disease nor a disorder, but it is something that certain individuals, most often those with genius or higher intellect IQs, well, they tend to suffer from neurodivergency. Our good old friend Elon Musk, neurodivergent 1000%. I have always known I don't fit in this world. I've always known I am a peculiar sort of person, and I just never have felt like I belonged. But more so, since birth, even long before my birth, apparently something about this world and being born into it was very painful for your auntie. Because when I came out of my mother's womb, I had hickeys up and down both of my arms, and I actually came out sucking my finger. The doctor had to pry my little itty-bitty finger out of my mouth just to slap my butt to make me breathe, scream, and cry. This world has always been painful to me. And with neurodivergence, well, it seems as though that is the same for all the rest of them as well. The rest of us as well. Because like I said, this little Rh negative card carrying member is also a neurodivergent. Neurodivergent self-soothe. We also see things differently. Our perspective is far different than normal folks, individuals. We also problem solve not only better than most, but far more different than others do. And we love a good problem. Oh yes. If you got a problem, I'll solve it. No, I will, and I'll have a great time doing it. It's one of my favorite things. But not only do we see the world differently, perceive the world differently, take in information differently, but we also feel things differently as well. And I'm here to tell you this world, it hurts. It hurts. More so today than it did a couple of weeks ago, but you get what I mean. Not only did I suck my finger coming out of the womb, but I actually sucked my finger self-soothing until I was, I'm not proud of this, in the 6th grade. I also wet my bed until I was right around the same age. As I grew into my teens and my young 20s, well, as many neurodivergents, and sadly I have to say this, a lot of the neurodivergents will take this path, our terms of self-soothing oftentimes take a self-destructive path. As most neurodivergents will find themselves in their lifetime struggling, straight up struggling with addiction, schmugs, schmalcohol, anything that will raise their dopamine level, their serotonin, which is probably why in all of my years of self-sabotaging, self-soothing, I never got down with the devil's lettuce. I couldn't. I don't know if I'm allergic to it or what, but it's something that takes you down. We often are looking for things that will increase our dopamine, our serotonin, because one might only imagine that, well, wherever we came from before we came here was a land that was filled with much more happiness, sunshine, serotonin, and dopamine. And that's what makes this world so painful. Did you know that with Rh negative, I love it. We got you, Satan. This is the one thing he has not been able to successfully discover, cover up, or find a lie for. Nope. Even science themselves, after sciencing, and after all their best efforts, carrying the one, dividing it by 2, square pi what, they even had to admit, we give. When it comes to those who have Rh negative blood, we can't figure it out, but we can say this, their origin, well, it isn't from here, not from Earth. Maybe that's why Earth has been so painful for us. Rh negativators also have multiple traits in common that, well, don't come in common with humans themselves. Not at all. Number 1, most often we have genius IQs. That would explain the big foreheads we often have in common as well. You gotta have a big forehead to store that big brain, yo. Our eyes change colors, typically green, blue, and like myself, green, blue, and sometimes gray. And amongst the traits that we all have in common, for some reason, those with Rh negative blood have tendencies, well, let's just say this, we can see beyond the veil. Many with the ability, of course, of being mediums, like myself, a psychic clairvoyant medium my entire life. Don't worry, I denounced it in 2022, so don't ask me for a reading. But many can remote view, telekinesis, the gift of healing, prophetic dreams. I bet some of these sound familiar because those are the gifts that our Father gave one entity. Well, a collective of a type of an entity. And it ain't humans. Remember, the one gift that he gave to humans, the only gift, was a gift of free will. Those gifts that I just listed, those were the gifts of the celestials only, the angels. Gifts that humans were never given at all. So that makes that whole thing with science saying Rh negative, well, your origin isn't from Earth, a little bit more awkward, doesn't it? Or beautiful, depending on the way that you see it. And in my situation, where I'm sitting, front row and center, it's the most beautiful truth of them all. So much so I couldn't say it. And since Rh negative was only just discovered in 1937, well, it seems as though that seed came much later, many generations later. A seed of a bloodline of a peculiar people. One might even call it a royal bloodline, one of a lineage not from this earth. But with that being said, y'all, I need to know, negativators, has this world just always been painful to you? Are you a neurodivergent as well? Are you one of the 15% of the people with Rh negative blood, and at the same time one of the 15 to 20% of the world's population that are neurodivergent, perceiving things differently, taking in information in this world differently, problem solving way better and differently? And do you most of all have the tendency, know the absolute need to self-soothe since the very first breath that you took in this world? Trying to find any way, shape, or form to make this world a little less painful, because wherever it is that you came from never had pain like this in it at all. Ooh, I want to show you another thing that I do still to this day. Because if you're still in your self-soothing situation and you're doing the self-hurting, self-harming in the self-soothing, like the schmalcohol and the schmugs, you're going to have to stop, especially right here, right now in the end of days. No, I mean you're going to need to stop it right now. So get yourself a pillowcase. That's what... No, I'm not joking though. This is something I've done since I was a little tiny girl. And the crisper the sheet, the better. I've always ran my fingers between it or my toes while I'm sleeping or going to bed. But the other thing I love more is the seam. I do this with my fingernails. I've done it, like I said, since I was a little girl. And there's a reason I'm holding this one. Mike calls it my whoopee. I did it as recently as just last night. I do it every night when I go to bed. This is a self-soothing technique I've carried throughout my entire life. So if you're struggling with things that lower your abilities like schmalcohol or schmugs, it is vital now more than ever that you stop doing those. And if this helps, I really would suggest trying it. I would. Life has not been easy for the chosen ones. Pew, pew, pew. If you look back in your life, you can tell, hands down, it has been quite hard. And if you're being honest, some of that hard stuff was self-sabotaging, self-soothing, trying to find some level of dopamine or serotonin that would help you get through at least one more painful day on this earth. But this is what we train for, people. This is not a drill. Knees to chest, knees to chest. You got to put the bad self-soothing stuff down because it's almost go time. Because I know you're ready to leave this painful earth long, long, long behind in your rearview mirror. But if you are Rh negative and you are a neurodivergent, I need to know it. Put it in the comments because that is too tight of a percentage number for it even to be a coincidence in this world at all. And if you self-soothe, I'd love to know what it is that you do in the comments. And if you need help getting over those tough self-soothing things that hurt you, let me know and I'll put you in my prayers. We are a royal priesthood of peculiar people. And this is why he says, stay sober of mind. Ooh, that just came out of my mouth and that hit home now, didn't it? Stay sober, my friends. Get yourself a pillowcase because we got a purpose you need to be doing. And like he says, you have to be sober of mind. I love you with my great big gigantic heart. I do. And I can't wait to hang with you in heaven. My little negativator and fellow neurodivergent. This world is painful, but it is a whole lot less painful because you are here in it. Now get out there and be the light that this world needs you to be. And your Father sent you to be as well. Mwah.